Is any more light in here?
Right, in keeping with our normal stance, Parliament always starts at 2 o'clock. All right? So I'm seeking someone to come and open up our Universal Parliament. The history aspect of Parliament today will not begin till 3 o'clock. But in the meantime, the floor is open for anyone that wants to share, for anyone that wants to build on their nation. Now is your time to come and make your knowledge manifest. Please do not. And on that note, the floor is open.
Put on point. What you saying, yeah?
My name is God Divine Prince, and I want to welcome everyone that's here right now to our Parliament. Right? The purpose of Parliament of us coming together regularly, on a regular basis every month, so that we can not only stay abreast of what's going on with our nation, so that we can connect with our brothers and sisters, right? And keep our unity strong. Because remember, the 5%, the nation of the God's earth, has unity, but we have always got to function as a unit, right? Especially now in this day and time, where it seems that certain people are uncertain about what we're about, and they have had a way of minimizing our importance here in the wilderness of North America and throughout the planet, right? To speak or to teach the knowledge of our culture. This is the responsibility of everyone that says they come in the name of God and earth. It is important that we always not only remind ourselves of why we're here, but also remind people as to why we're here. This is the reason why today's Parliament is dedicated towards us reestablishing our history. Last year, the October month Parliament of last year, that Parliament was a history Parliament also, and it was dedicated to the firstborn and those that came about from 64, that began in 64, and it was a great Parliament. Today, it's dedicated to those brothers that came around in the 70s and brought us over to this level, right? And we had many great builders in the 70s. Myself, I gained knowledge in 1971. I've been around a long time, and the knowledge and wisdom of Allah, ever since it was made manifest to me, I've held it as being the most important thing in my life. It changed my life. It changed me from the way I was thinking to a higher realm of gaining some intelligence about what was going on. Not everyone had privilege to this knowledge. Not everyone is built for this. You have had those that have given their life for this, so that you can have this free form here. I can understand also why there may be some hesitation for brothers to come and stand up here and say who they are and what they're about. You know, I'm not one of the judges, but I can understand perhaps your hesitation. Because when you stand here, you are standing before the universe. You're standing before your kids. You're standing before those men that stand in judgment of you. Whether you like that word or not, we do, because we are most critical of whoever stands here and manifests mathematics out their mind. But I tell you that those of you that are pure in heart, that have something to say, that want to be heard, that want to talk about how great it is to be God on earth, that want to talk about what you're doing in your community, this platform here offers you the opportunity for that. Parliament is so important. It's important that we begin on time. We began a few minutes late, but yet still the ones that are here, don't minimize your importance to us. Whether all you know is the pre-mathematical alphabet, that's fine. You only have to respond to what you know. Right? Some of us have 120 degrees and beyond, so we say. And there might be some hesitation in that as well. But never fear to stand up here and manifest who you are. Right? Because this it can be a proving ground for what you do out there. Understand that we say the black man is God. We have never compromised in that position. You know what I'm saying? But you must understand too that we are not Muslims. We are not anti-white or pro-black. One man made all this possible. One man. And that's our Father, Allah. Right? So today is not only dedicated towards the gods that came about in the 70s, it's also dedicated, as all parliaments are, to keeping the memory and the teachings of our Father alive. Right? So that we won't forget how we got here and why we remain here. I'm very keen on that. We stress the important thing. We stress to you that you're not educated. Get educated. If you don't have a job, get a job. If nobody gives you a job, make you a job. Keep your hands out of criminal activity. Stay out of prison. Treat your woman with respect. Don't make babies and don't take care of your baby. Whether you were the mother or not, make it your job to make sure that your babies grow strong and straight. There's a difference between God and the 85%, as this you well know. So watch what you eat. Watch the circles you travel in. Watch what you carry in your pocket. Watch your back. Because God is always under attack. Once you manifest and say out your mouth that the black man is God, then you have become a moving target. So don't stand still. You ain't got no time to stand still. You know what I'm saying? We're about building on tangible things. Not only from our mouths, because the 5% is essentially a teaching, but we teach through our ways and actions as well. We say what we mean and mean what we say. So just like I said, in opening up this parliament, time to warm you up, time to put a spark in some of y'all. This cycle here is open for anyone that's in this auditorium right now to come up here and build on the Davis mathematics, build on who you are, whatever there was ever in your mind to build on. Now is your time. Because at 3 o'clock, that is when the history aspect of this parliament will take place. But mind you, there's going to be a lot of activity today. There's a health fair going on. There's an activity in the gymnasium for children, right? There's going to be people, not only in our nation, but not necessarily in our nation, that support us, that are coming here to give you information. There's going to be food. It's going to be your opportunity to share on the greatest day of the month for us. So, in closing with all that, you know what I'm saying, we'd like to see someone come up front and let this God go on and pass out these programs, all right? So, please, regards, let's enjoy your conference. Thank you.
Praise God.
Praise God.
I got a concern concerning our nation. I believe very strongly we've been allowing young babies to the games industry. So my suggestion, my advice to all guards, young and old, is get back into the streets and start teaching more. We lose a lot of babies to the game. I just came to the penitentiary, it's flooded with bloods and crips and rectors and whatever you want to call it. All them babies and all them children should be with us. But we the gone. Really no reason for it. Unless we decide we ain't going to teach no more. That's unheard of in our lives. Yeah. We must start teaching more. Hanging around the academy, being inside the school is good. We must get out in the streets like the law got out in the streets. That's how we became what we are. When we got in the streets and started teaching. We sit on his ass, we wouldn't be what we are today. We must start getting in the streets, including myself. I'm trying to see how the penitentiary start teaching in the streets more. That's my presentation. Y'all know me, I've been going there a long time. You're old back now. I want to try to get back into the nation with the teachers. When we leave guards to stay 23 hours inside the school, hanging out in the store. The streets of Harlem, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Ashland, Queens. We must start doing our teaching. Play the school ball. Go on, take the bullet ball, go on, testify the ball.
Umala. Umala.
Hey, my name is John. I'm from Mecca. Every Monday, I teach 120 classes from 6 to 8. From 6 to Hey, I'll be there. Rain, hail, snow, Halloween, Christmas, New Year. I'll be there. Peace.
Take it like it's dark. I mean, it's like it's dark.
Doors open. Let it catch you back in the
Peace.
Name is Rashid. You all are.
Go ahead, Rashid. Peace, guy.
Now see the days of mathematics, understanding the cipher, which is only saying that I have to understand. I have to understand myself and everything around me. I have to know that I'm going to be on the job, teaching in the streets. It's like the God said. That's what it's all about. It's a beautiful day for all of us to come together at this magnificent gathering, which is only saying that this is where the great minds come together for one common cause with the same mathematical ideas. So when we read each other today, we should be empowered with the supreme knowledge and understanding of oneself and go out into the world with a abundance of magnetic. Go out into our families, into our communities, and show forth and prove the Father's mind. Because the Father gave his life.
Yeah, that's good, that's good.
So I take this personal. The Father gave his life to you, so you're supposed to take it personal. So when I get up in the morning time, it's about me taking myself through daily mathematics, understanding myself, that I'm no different than that I ain't supposed to be blaming people for errors that happen inside me or around me, that I have the supreme solution, which is to apply the mathematics each and every day to myself, to eat the right foods, to stay clean, brush my teeth, wear some clean clothes, and get on out there and each one teach me. Each one teach me. Whatever I got, give it to you or her. And do that, the universe, if I give back like that, then the universe will come and bless you back. Because we already understand cause and effect. As you go and you add on to every human being on the face of planet Earth to the best of your ability, which is true. There ain't gotta be no great science that you share with the babies. Sometimes the babies need to see you clean and upright. Sometimes the babies need a hug. Sometimes you need to go, no matter people may think you crazy, you may go right in front of 5 bloods and look them right in the face and say, are y'all going to kill each other today or are you going to be one? I'm telling you what I do. I'm telling you what I'm doing. The babies are very angry. They're angry because they feel abandoned. They're angry because their mother and father was probably drug addicts, and they had no one to love them. They had no one to give them the proper knowledge of themselves. So they're very angry, and they are murdering each other. I'm going to repeat that again. The babies in all 5 boroughs, right now as we speak, they're murdering each other. Right now. And when you approach them, you better be there. You better be there. You better know what you're talking about. You better be able to show them food. You got to shout it down. And you better offer them something. Make them feel first. And then they become too separate. Like school. Each and every one of us should take over the community center in our neighborhoods. The community center in our neighborhoods, if we draw up a proposal and work with individuals in the community center, they'll bring us a space in it. They'll bring us a room in it to go and teach. Whatever you know in this supreme knowledge, we will. But we have to go and put one foot in front of the other and be that man and that woman and save somebody else like somebody saved me. Because you're looking at a mirror. I am a mirror. I am the exact manifestation of what this nation can produce. I came from nothing, an orphan. My own parents came from nothing. Just in case you was thinking, oh, you pretty nigga, and you got this over suit. Just in case you was thinking like that, but let me tell you the response to living mathematics. My own parents gave me up in the I'm a product of hate, anger, rage, all that, and much, much more. Matter of fact, from the group home, I can only count about 2-3 individuals who actually made it with their sins. Mathematics, this nation, psychological level. This teaching has made me grow up and face myself, so that I can perhaps be able to face other people, and that I can perhaps make the change in myself and make the change everywhere I go. Because people gave their lives for you to be here today. People gave their lives. I feel great. I am loved. I am somebody. There are gods and earths who have restored great knowledge and wisdom to me. And I never forgot it. And I have it right in my heart. Right in my heart. So we need to go to future days. We need to go. They're very angry. And they're serious. They're serious. I went to a blood member and I said, yo, he's still blood. I said, why did you join the Bloods? You know what he told me? A notorious blood member. You know what he told me? He said he doesn't know. He said he didn't know. So I said, what are you talking about? I mean, the brothers are out there, and they got fear in everybody. They're slicing people, they're hurting people. You know what he told me? He said, if you knew now what he knew then, he would have never joined the blood. He would have never joined the blood. So that's only saying that this young man needed knowledge. He needed a proper knowledge, wisdom, and to give his own understanding. He needed somebody to sit down with him and build with him. Possibly buy a plate of food and share that plate of food with that mother or that sister and say, I love you. And here's this knowledge. Perhaps this is what saved my life. Perhaps this is what you. So it's simple. It ain't no magnificent thing. You ain't got to jump and run notes and quote 120 lessons like that. All you got to do is just stop and listen. My name is Rashid. What's your name? What's your name, brother? And if you're not going to teach the babies, it's going to be a penalty. If we don't teach the babies, it's going to be a penalty. They're going to judge us, they're going to hate us, and they're going to make this our job, civilizing this world, more difficult. If we don't go and teach the babies, they're going to hate us, and they're going to make our job horrible. So don't be scared of it. Perhaps you're just looking at yourself. Perhaps when you go to teach that young brother, that young sister something, perhaps you're looking at who you used to be. Angry, hurt, resentful, lack of understanding. So don't be scared of these gang members. Don't be scared because they only you. Those gang members are only who you are. Don't be scared yourself. So my name is Rashid Ullah, manifesting the mathematical mind of the Father, understanding that sight, and that's only the person or the people, places, and drawing it all up. Because we have the ability to rise above the sight, stand on the square, a master it all. Master the minimum 6, and go into 6. Peace. Peace. Oh, shoot. I ain't seen God in years. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Please, everybody. Please, God. Thank you for Mellow.
Just like God said, I haven't been here in years. And to some degree, I have to explain why. One is I was embarrassed by a lot of our behavior. My background has primarily been in media, radio, TV. I still do that finance. Anybody who's in that field that needs some assistance, I've always been of assistance. I've never refused anyone to play a demo tape on the radio, do anything to help anyone achieve what they want to do. I think the embarrassment came with one rally I came to, and a law school was in the process of being fixed up. And one of the carpenters had said, God, somebody stole my tools. Will somebody return them? And at that point, I said, I don't want to be associated with these people, period. Anytime, first of all, stealing is a crime. And then when you steal from each other, it is horrendous. And I could not quite comprehend. The school needs repair, yet someone sold the God's tool who volunteered his time, who could be making money to feed his own family, to help us. And I no longer wanted to be associated. I didn't want to go to a rally. I didn't want to see a lesson. I didn't even acknowledge people with flags, period. And even though those who knew me, I would see them, and we knew, and we spoke, and I explained, and they weren't angry. But then I also realized that I cannot pigeonhole this organization into one or two individuals. It's much greater than that. It's always been. I remember when there was not an empty seat in this room, and it was standing room only in the back, and I had so much fear coming up here speaking, and it was revealing when I did. But the truth of the matter is, God and earth, because we got to stop trivializing our women. I'm the proud father of two girls, Ciasia and Aisha. And we have to stop trivializing ourselves, our nation, and our future. And like I said, God, I'm no longer embarrassed, but it's going to take me some time to get reacquainted with everything. Like I said, when the Lord said Mondays, He's renewing history, I need help, period. Honestly, God, I haven't built on anything in so long. It's a crime, honestly. So I recognize that, here to renew my history, here to reacquaint myself with everyone in this room, and everyone in this building, everyone in the station. But again, the way we project ourselves on the world and on each other, we have to be careful, just like God said. There's a certain image, there's a certain criteria, there's a certain way of being, period. And a lot of us don't want to make the transition, but God, things change, period. And we have to change with the time. I was fortunate enough to come across computers that we didn't need at work. And my first thought was, I can take these to a law school, but I wonder will they walk out the door once I drop them off. And that's something that I didn't want to happen, so I never even bothered. So hopefully all of us got a better understanding of why we're here, and why we want to do things, and where we want to be. And like I said, God, I'm a persistent, always have been. There has not been one person who can go on record and say, when I was at State College, up at the radio station, God, I got demo tape, or I got a group, or I got this, and I made it my business. I wouldn't care who was there, established rapper, or whomever. It was always God's time up there, period. Always been, always will be. We're doing film, we're doing a lot of positive things. My number is public record, everyone can have it. I picked up as we no secretary talking about he ain't here, it's me when I say he, period. So let's just try to better ourselves, better the situation, because again, this is a great nation. There are great individuals here. Umar, Ovak, On Justice, Colleen, all of God, so good to see him again. But truth be told, I was embarrassed and ashamed to be associated with not all the individuals, but some individuals. You pick up an article, this individual from the God and Earth Nation is graffiti writing on a building. How does that sound? And the explanation is, they've done something to me, so this is the way I get back at them. You already got back at them by leaving that nonsense alone and coming to the knowledge of yourself, being God. I don't need to go right on a church wall, a synagogue, or desecrate any house where the Creator's name is there to prove that I'm better than them. I'm proving it when I get up in the morning and set an example for my children and for my family, and when individuals walk down the block and people actually ask me directions. White folks come to me and always ask me where something is. And I'm like, goodness gracious, because I put on a suit, I keep my hair cut, and I'm just walking like I got some sense. I ain't making a spectacle out of myself. Everybody wants some directions. So they obviously see that God is in their presence and existence, and they're gravitating towards it. There has not been one incident, God, where I've been somewhere where somebody saw a pool of cat and basically said, hey, can you tell me what's Fifth Avenue? Sure, sir, no problem. And kept it moving. I'm gonna be very brief. One more thing. I love y'all. I don't say things that sound interesting. I don't have nothing to prove. I just want y'all to better yourselves so that we can better each other. Peace.
Hey, just gonna take a quick minute, come back later on, come to all this right now. Peace, I stand here before you in the name of the Lord God of love. Before I say it, let me share that all praise due to Allah, Lord of all the world, master is in judgment. I also like to say that he alone is the master builder. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time because, like I said, I want to really wait till, some more of the family here. I want to make some clarity. I want to bring some clarity about real quick. A lot of y'all that might know me, those of you who don't know that I have taken upon myself to try to elevate this family on a political agenda. What I'm doing is I'm going in the same direction that my father, Almighty God, Allah, took. A lot of you might not know we talk about this, the history of the nation. But you all might get to hear some sympathetic stuff today and all that. That's good. But I want to talk about the importance of becoming more politically astute. We just went to what was it, National Region Conference? The National Conference up in Pittsburgh. How many of you knew that we held the National Conference in Pittsburgh last week? Raise your hand. Okay, so that goes to show you that there's a need for us to become a little more politically astute within this family. One of the things that I'm beginning to do is I'm beginning to not me, but Universal Black Family Awareness, which is a non-profit organization. And when I say that, I'm not saying that we doing any political movement for the non-profit group, but the members of that group are moving around within the political arena as members of the nation of God and earth, which frees us from any stipulations of making any political moves. So the political moves that I am making right about now is in the name of my father, Almighty God, Allah. See, but when Allah made his manifestation here in the city of New York, there were two individuals that he stepped to right away after he came out of Babylon. One of them was then sitting there from the city of New York. His name was John B. Lennon. How many of you have heard of John B. Lennon? How many of you knew that Allah appointed John B. Lennon as an honorary father system? Okay. The next individual was the then sitting governor of the state of New York, Nelson Rockefeller. How many of you identify with that school around the corner? How many of you know that it was on a political-based agenda that that school was given to our fathers? How many of you know that the flag that you wear on your lapel was a politically planned and organized manifestation of our fathers? How many of you know that the city of New York took up the budget and made these flags for our fathers to give to his children? Okay, so when y'all come around me and talk about we not about politics, I got to tell you a damn lie. These youngsters right now, I want to make it very clear to them that we are as politically astute as anyone else. The reason we are neglected the way we are here in the city of New York and all over the country is because we, in 41 years that we have been here, have refused to make ourselves known in a political manifestation. Here, I have a flyer that's going around the city of New York from the Bloomberg campaign. I want to say to you that Jamila God is supporting Michael Bloomberg. Those of you who want to know a little more about what's going on with me and Bloomberg, you can see me outside. This flyer is being circulated throughout the city of New York by the Bloomberg campaign. I don't bring it to your attention to show my face as being self-centered or egotistic. I show it to you to show you that I'm moving in the same direction that my father moved in. That I'm going back to the same order of the day that my father left us in. All right? Which is political manifestation and political power. All of you that don't want to agree with it, that's your business. Those of you who can comprehend where I'm coming from and want to support this movement, y'all can embrace me, y'all can speak to me, y'all can get a better understanding. Because see, each and every one of you here have family outside of the nation that's going to be voting on November 8th. And I want to make sure that y'all understand the reason why I support this man. You see what I'm saying? I support this man is for one of the biggest reasons, because what he did was social component. That's the biggest reason. But we can talk about that as we begin to get a better understanding. So here you see, there's a picture of this woman, her name is Lydia Hobbs. She's the president of local DC 37. Here's Jim Bloomberg. This man here, his name is Imam Hassan. A lot of y'all might not know him, but he's a real deal around this community with real estate. He's a Muslim. He also came on a block over here on 116th Street. And next to Pasha, you will see a profile of my face. This is a better picture of myself carrying Michael Bloomberg.
Did you see that girl?
Carrying Bloomberg down 7th Avenue on the Ball Month, the Knowledge Build Day, during the African American Day Parade. I was able to extend myself on a personal note to him. And because of that extension, there's a relationship that's going to develop. Whether he likes it or what, now, there's a relationship that develops from this. Because the last thing I told him that my word is my bond, and my bond is my life. And in return, he told me to work both what? Ways. So on that note, I want you all to know that we're moving in a direction that's going to be beneficial to us all. What I want you all to understand is that the politics within your very local community, as simple as this can. How many of you know about what they call community boards? Do you know the benefits and the agenda of the community board? How many know that? Okay, well let me give you a quick trick. The community board is consisting of members of the community in which they sit in conference with each other about the community affairs. In every community, there's a community, there are numbers. Community board 8, community board 10, community board 11, community board. Each community has a community board, which consists of mostly the elders of the community, because the young are so blind, deaf, and dumb to the politics of the community that they let the old take care of all the what? Business. So because of that, we never know what's going on, and we never part of the decision-making process of the community. And what I'm saying to the family is that we need to become more involved in the community, boards within our areas. We need to become more involved with the community politics, which is the politics of electing such things as what they call a community leader. How many of you know what a community leader is? Okay, how many of you know what a councilmatic member of the community is? Council member, okay? How many of you know what an assemblyman is? Okay, how many of you all know what a congressman is? Okay, what's a senator? These are the things, these are the offices that are put in place because of your say-so. These are the things that we have to begin to understand and come together as a family and make a community conscious thought and idea, not only among ourselves, but among our families. We got to bring our families into the decisions that we are about to make. And the reason I'm sharing this with y'all is because for too long, we have been set aside. We have allowed ourselves to be set aside, and we have allowed others to set us aside. We stand up talking about 41 years. 41 years of what? What? The school's still around the corner. If it wasn't for the grace and blessing of certain God taking it upon himself to do some work in there, it would be an old run-down what? Shack. And you all walk around with flags on your lapel, talking about we a nation of God and what? Earth. And we don't even have no political power. You're insane. You're sick. That is a sick way of thinking. It is a sick way of being. Our fathers did not come into this manifestation to see us become and be in the place that we are in today. Believe me, there's a lot of great things going on now. Don't get me wrong. Across the regions, there are great things going on. But I'm talking about here what they call, Now Why? New York. This is the table. We got power because our Father has the power. And He brings the power unto us. But because of our inability to accept the responsibility of carrying a political agenda further, we have lost out. And I am tired of it. And as a direct result of me being tired of it, I'm making some moves. And when I say I mean brothers like Father Bouchard, Al Jafar, understanding God, Hindu wise, the brothers that's around me and about me, we are making moves. And the moves we are making are going to be felt throughout this entire United World State. We're going to start here, and it's going to have a ripple effect across the world. Nation and around the world. World. Because word is bond and bond is what? Life. So if maybe you want to see me during the rally or anytime you see me, you want to converse between now and November 8th about what's going on with this here man, Michael Bloomberg, y'all can confront me. We can talk about it. Everybody has their opinion. Everybody can do what they want to do. He's got free choice. You know, and it's all right. But what I'm trying to say to you is that this man is allowing community-based organizations which have never been able to sit at the table an opportunity to sit at the table. Whether or not you qualify yourself, that's another story. But he's allowing certain groups that have been kept away from the table an opportunity to what? Come to the table. And as a direct result of that, I'm willing to give him some support. Again, I said, when he, my brother, how many children do you have?
I got a coach.
Coach. Okay. When that man stood up and he said, and I spoke to him personally about it, and I told him this is one of the reasons why I'm wrong with you. And a lot of brothers might say, well, that's not going to nothing. But when he stood up, for whatever reason he had, he said he was going to do away with social promotion. Huh? He said, I'm going to do away with it because it's not fair to the children. It wasn't a political move. He wasn't getting it. The man is a billionaire. What the hell he's going to get by trying to tell them that it's time for y'all to stop tricking the children and promote them into classes and into grades which they have no business being in because they're not being matriculated in the proper perspective. Here I am, 51 years old. I am a product of social promotion. How many of y'all can remember mothers and fathers, grandfathers and grandmothers, remember being graduated into a class without you really going to work? Don't be a fool.
Yeah, that's true.
And as a direct result of that man stepping up and making that knowledge born, the very parents of the children that he was trying to save turned around and called them a what? Racist. They followed all the Democrats, the demonics, because that's what I see them as. There's a lot of good Democrats in China, but the majority of them is a bunch of traitors. And I'm going to call out some of them. But the Democrats have to understand the what? Silence. You got one that I call Hollywood Shot. The other one is Keep Hope Alive Jackson. Every time you look around, they call themselves leaders of the community, leaders of the people. But why are the people still suffering in this day and what? Time. Why are all these politicians who were elected some 40-some odd years ago still in power, and we still don't have no what? Goddamn power. Why? Because they choose to keep the people blind, deaf, and what? Dumb. They choose to be 10% over the 81, 5%. But they can't take the 5%, or my father was not a follower what? Christian. My father was a man that told the what? Truth, regardless of whom or what. And like father, like son. Y'all got to get wise to this game that's being played here, man. The powers among the what? People. Remember the song, some of you might not remember, they had a song got to give more power to the people. For God's sake, we got to give more power to the what? People. So if y'all think that politics is not a part of our agenda, I'm here to tell you that you are sadly what? Mistaken. And I'm going to be one of the ones that's going to put my foot up some people's rear when it comes time to politics. And I don't want to hear that bull about politics. What was the game they played the word?
Poly, meeny, many, takes the blood suckers. Poly, meeny, many, takes the blood suckers.
Blood suckers. Blood suck who? Blood suck who they can. Blood suck who let them blood suck. But I'm not letting nobody blood suck this. I'm trying to tell you all that as a group, we can come together and we can create a power in this city, man. Because we got power. We don't only have power over ourselves, we influence the what? People. When you think about all the different groups out there that have left from us, all the different people who are coming in our ranks, who have been a part of this cycle, and have left this cycle, and have gone out there in their own world. It's another song, I'm into this song thing again. Another song by James Brown, The Big Payback. Huh? Well, that's what this is. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the big payback. It's time for us to take our place. God always said, Brother Bouchard always said, he said, there will be no peace until God is seated in the common. And I'm telling y'all, God been in the common. Y'all just don't know nothing about it. So now God is telling you to prepare yourself. Because we're going to be calling upon, just like Allah did us in the 60s when he wanted to see that there, Lindsay was elected. He called upon his Bible what? Sent to support them. And we supported that. It's important for us to understand the politics of the day and what time. We can't speak this because it affects our children. Do you all understand what's going on here? There's going to come a time when we no longer going to be here to defend the what? Children. So we have to make sure that we set up an agenda. An agenda is what Yahoo set up when he stated the 28 degree and the 140. That was an agenda. If you want to have an idea of what an agenda is, that's a mere idea of what it is. We have to set up agendas in which our children can look at and participate in and be a part of in order to survive the hell that's being made. Telling y'all, this is for real, man. I just wanted to touch the very few that was in here right now. But see, I know that the ones that's here right now are the chosen ones. Everybody coming after the time, they just and it's all right. We got a little bit for them too. But I wanted to touch those of you who are here now, in the here and now, because I know that you all have a perspective on what's going on. Yours is a part of the flow. This thing is too important for us, man. This thing about us gaining power, I mean, and I'm not just talking about power that we, you know, I'm talking about real power, man. I'm talking about being able to see ourselves, put somebody that we choose in a position of power, so that when the power is being shared, power can come back to work. That's what putting people in office means. It means you give them your support. You lend yourself to seeing them win an election. And then when all is said and done, they have to remember you. It don't say that they got to kiss up under you and give you everything you want, but they have to remember that you were supportive of them. And that in your support of them, you have certain needs and certain wants, but not yourself, but your children. When we move, we got to move not so much in the name of the children, because that's another gimmick that so many of us have, using the children as an excuse. Everybody and put it on the baby. Talk about the children. Great. That's bullshit. My father told me, and he told us, he said, I don't have to learn that boy's language. That boy got to learn my language. The children are the children. How many of you know that when my father left us, he said we will be known as the what? God. And then he said, well, the earth will be known as our earth. He said that the 5% will be the woman and the what? Children. They will be the ones who will know who the true and living God is and will bear witness to the black man is what? God. And they will teach that the black man is what? God. But as a direct result, we got so twisted in the manifestation of God's sight. Let me show you how twisted history is. Because they're going to get up here and talk about history today. But ain't nobody going to tell the real truth.
At 3 o'clock.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you now.
At 3 o'clock.
I'm telling you now. When God's sight came into manifestation, and I'm one of them. I'm not negating the fact that I was there too. We, the gods, became so big-headed. We became so self-centered. We became so egotistical that the very families in which we were supposed to be defending and supporting, we left them by the what? Wayside. And as a direct result, the Caucasian man had to step in and start talking about social welfare and giving them some breathing space and helping the women out with the children. And, huh? You remember the history? Most of us got caught up in drugs and what? Alcohol. We got caught up in our egotistical self-centeredness of the black man is God. The black man is God. Who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the people, the planet, the father of civilization, and God of the universe. But our women and our babies were suffering. Suffering because of our neglect. Because of our neglect to accept personal responsibility. How many of us are blamed for fathering children that we don't even know where they are at today? And I stand there as one. How many of us then we turn around and wonder why the women are so twisted? Then we wonder why our children are running so savagely and rampant in the streets of hell. That's the truth of the history that we created for ourselves. Our Father came here to save us, man, and he did. Word is fine, he did. Because the very few of us that accepted the truth from him, we still here today, man. And in my heart, I know that what I see going on today was not our Father's intention. Our Father was so far ahead of the game, he told his firstborn, the one I'm going to mention is the one that I sit at his feet right now. His name is ABG number 7. And I know he told ABG one time, he stood out there in the streets and he was watching all the dope things. There was some kind of a dope line. They were bum rushing a place with dope. And the father stood up there and he looked at ABG and he said to him, he said, son, I don't envy you your job. Comprehend this now. Here's a man. Prophesying Allah, speaking to one of his young, and telling him that he does not, in any shape, form, or fashion, envy him of a job that's going to be in front of him. So when I say all these things about how twisted we became after our father left, don't get me wrong, there was a master plan to get the place. But too many of us fell victim to it, man. Too many of us, we fell victim so easily to it that has devastated generations of children. Now, in 2005, with only 2 months left, we've got to recognize our responsibilities. And a part of our responsibility is coming to terms with ourselves, not only as a group whose proper name is the nation of God and earth, but a group whose responsibility it is to save the world. Whether you accept it or not, that's our job. Our job is to teach. Our job is not to try to make all the money that there is to make. Because if we teach, that's another thing the Father taught us. If we teach and we teach right and exact, all things will come to us. All things, worldly or whatever you choose to call it, going to come to us because of the direct result of the reward that you get in order to do what we do. You try to tell me somebody else? But as I said, there's a lot more on this. It's coming on 3 o'clock now. And we all get ready to do this, right? The bottom line, like I said, any of y'all want to talk to me about this political agenda, I'm outside, I'm sitting out there where AD and Keith there, you know, and we can talk, and a little later on, there's some more people. I hope you don't mind, because I'll come back and I'll bring the agenda back. You understand what I'm saying to y'all? I hope y'all, how many of y'all are registered voters? Okay. And the rest of you have families who are registered, so y'all is in the place. All right? I'm going to decide that we don't understand the side.
Peace.
Peace, God's mercy.
Peace, God.
It's almost the understand now, and this parliament is dedicated
It's understanding.
to, or it's understanding now, and ready. Before we start our parliament, there's something special I want to do today. I want to call my son here, and his wisdom. And if you can notice me, I'm overjoyed today. I'm holding this beautiful child here. This is Divine Sahin, my grandson. Newborn.
Divine Prince.
And just like wisdom knowledge years ago,
Yes, peace, God.
when I held this young God up to y'all and told you that he would be a great man, see my own words coming back at it. See, God and earth have longevity. Our Father was with us for approximately 5 years. He went home, but there were those that carried on throughout the 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. We're still here, we still building. So Sahin Allah, take divine Sahin Allah, and let's have this pleasure. And with that, with no further ado, I think it's only appropriate that the first job to build today on how it was in the era of the 70s was the God who was my friend before we both had knowledge. He gave me the knowledge. I consider myself to be his firstborn. No further ado, I give you my brother, Justice Hakim Allah.
I don't like cars that $180,000 a second, but only one quality before it equals. So I do things on an individual basis, not a crowd basis, because the crowd I might see a few, but individual I got some kind of rapport and I stick with that. And I do over 30 years sticking together. I got knowledge of God listening to it. I'll be powerless again next month. Look at it now. My story, and not history. You know, we went through a whole lot to get it down. It was all the fun for me. Like I said, when I came home from Peter, I had that knowledge for too long. But I didn't understand it in the Peter institution. But I already was a victim of society being sentenced, so I was to keep on to stay out of all trouble when I was doing the lesson. Then I got nonsense stuff. But it was like a tragedy, not promotion, because the game was out there. Like the game now, it was really bad. God took the game. And like, you had to choose. Who you gonna be with? This game, that game. I said, no, God was no game. So I hung around God. But I didn't believe or bear witness to nothing nobody said. I used to eat spice hands, sandwiches around each so they wouldn't ask me for nothing. Okay, I was like, you God what? You know, I said, what? You know, even with your mama. You know, I kind of retired. I was really stupid. And man, there was just one little cypress there. So I got up in the full farm. He said, everybody had a birth and everybody was born. Born was pretty wisdom back to mind himself. And I laughed. Tell me what birth and born. It's the same thing. And it took me a week later. Then I was meeting with Christianity. I was like me against the world. So then I came to my cousin. He was shocked. He went around. I asked him, you know, the message. His second name was Hakim there. That's his name. He said, no, everybody know Hakim is wisdom, Hakim means wise. And I said, I wasn't really wise. And the wisdom. So I took that name. Then, when I was told that we had to have righteous name for a Muslim name, that's a Muslim attribute of God, I put God after God. Somehow, nobody heard the God after everybody called me Hakim. If I add on Justice Hakim and Old Man Justice Home, get back to the history. So when I came home, I used to go to the dictionary store and find some vanilla like briefcases. You know, working around, carry stuff in. And I go around to the park with my lectures and talk to the individual. Right? And that's how, like I said, I'm super proud and I'm talking to students. And everybody's come to my house to study lessons. This is the knowledge of the understanding will come eventually. I was more important to me. And then the Masons in the neighborhood seen that these wild kids were now acting civilized and studying, reading books and literature for the first time. And they offered me the top of the community center to have civilization classes. People all around, looking for life arts museums, would come out there and add on. Well, no, got bigger than me. They get bigger. You know, I ain't think that. And we had a good crowd. We used to come here, the guests used to fill one section. You know, we used to roll, God, that night. You know, for various reasons, they got older, they spread it out. They promised me to be the director of the children's program, but for political move, they couldn't do this. They gave me a park position. They gave me the park house, which was a preschool. And from that, we did a whole lot. But I was in charge of the park, in charge of the lights, night lights, entertainment, you know, brothers to come and hijack the energy to show jams. So with me, they had to hijack it no more. But we gave fashion shows, things of that nature, dances out there. You know what I'm saying? At that time, I started writing numbers. So I had to do a lot of money. You know, fast money. I had dropped out of college. I had seeds, and I could no longer, you know, neglect. I had to do my responsibility. So I needed somebody to start a number game and writing numbers and being a part of it. I was writing on my own community. But anyway, I was able to get money together, give them gifts to her. They bought material. They made their own fashion. It's a fashion I used to today. I mean, the system was so dedicated back then that they would leave home with short dresses. And when you see them in school, they got pants on in New Jersey, but you put them with pants and dresses on. Yeah, well, that's what they did back then. That's how dedicated it was. You know, now, you see, the things on flip. You see, it was long stuff, and also they pulled this stuff up front for short. That's how much the mentality of the sisters and the brothers coming up, right? And from there, we went to the south side now. When I got down, I came home, I didn't know anybody who had down beside me in the class I had down for too long. But in 40 projects, they had rallies every Sunday every month. And that's how I got to with the brothers and sisters that came ahead of me. And they had rallies in the community center project, Jamaica House, they know what Jamaica House is, pretty city in Jamaica House. And to tell you the truth, there are more people than this. But like the other part, that's the record results of our young peers not doing what we did. They did, each one grew up once a peer. Who faced still up. I'm not going into bashing. It's going through the division. Anyway, from there, we started having rallies with God Wisdom called IS-72. Just like we had outside the theater, we had a Mount Park, so we got warm, we had rallies out there. And just to make it real good, we had a place on New York Boulevard for a school, another place for the Third Avenue on Rockwood Boulevard, then we had a school on 150th Street. Just the progression was so great in the desert, it was so profound, that in this case, it's cold, a lot of people in the desert. A lot of good things that came from the desert and still come from the desert. Now they're doing it at the Holy Theater on Jamaica Avenue, that's on 175th. That's the Holy Theater, that's what it is. Now, being that I'm in the desert more than on the program, I've been all over moving and visiting. My heart is still there, you know. We just call it the Oasis. We still call it the name of the Oasis. We feel so good that where I live at, we call Big Town, now called Georgetown. After a while. You know what, and it's funny, because you know what a Georgetown? And that's all tribute to the brothers Phillips. You know what I'm saying? And it's young that those then that really took this and respected it and stand this upright. You know, there wasn't no slouching. You know, they really had pride in having it now. You know? The things are so different. Like, we take it for granted that you call by your righteous name. But I saw my name was Hot. No, your name is Bobby. And you had sometimes you had to fight some people, you know, to get their respect, because they were disrespecting. And you don't want the young to think, you know, this ain't real, and it's street level. And I'm a challenge to things I was in myself. That's what I resorted to get the respect. But I rolled up on games by myself, not thinking of the fear, you know, of being hurt or nothing, but just that I know these are the people I had to reach. I want to holler at Queens. I was in front of the library when we got to go college. And I was talking to the brothers, and I didn't know there was that much threatening to hang out in front of the library and start trouble in the library. So man, so I'm taking into that conference room. It's like everywhere I go, they'll give me a room or something, right? I took them in the conference room and I played for a while. I started off with, what you don't know, they said, won't hurt you, but these happen very long because it's over 400 years. And then I got their attention, started building knowledge and stuff. But you know or not, people were shocked to learn some information. Sometimes feel to learn the shock in information because they got down, they got life behind us understanding. It never was that Jesus. Never was, all admit. But brothers understood that they never thought people back and said, yeah, information, you ain't being a Muslim. But Jesus decided to pull it on so far. Right? So when you break the bubble of 6 and give a person something else to strive for, that's real. Not no mystery God. That's our main thing. There is no mystery God. You know? And we know in the mystery God, there ain't no prophets. How many prophets something that existed? Don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? But you take things on face value. Allah gives 120 lessons is written in wisdom now, so we can master and come out with knowledge and wisdom. Not for all good. I never seen the fathers I had used to have to take. Because from that little room in the library, we had a civilization class now in the after school center. Because the games running around in the after school center, if you can get inside the room and teach for other programs, that's what we did. And I always used that as a teaching tool. Because I couldn't say that because he said that Father said his father. I didn't know what he said. But I know that tape said. You know? So that was my main teaching tool. And from there, we just kept on building. I just took my step back into, you know, my own spot. My comfortability is not being in front at the spot like I said. I am like, I call myself a superstar in love. Because we're all superstars. Everybody got the light. We're the light of the world. And if we don't do it, then they're not going to do nothing. This is what's going to do. We're going to do this. And we do this. And the crowd don't mean nothing, the money don't mean nothing. But I came to the party and said they offered him money because they locked him up, saying that he was actually big city minor. You know, coming to all that. He could have sued him, but he didn't want that kind of power. As the so-called Negro leaders at the time. He didn't want the money. He wanted what we got right now. We got a foundation of education that's a passive need. We got brothers who couldn't read and write. They're reading right now. The brothers there, the rest of them tell them where they go. We have been right now. They got good professions, they're taking care of their families, they're living longer. Some didn't go here at all. And so we learn from other people's experiences. We don't like us to get into this, so they doing their thing. We're gonna while we here. I call my ourselves and see if science and did this history out while we here. We can help each other. Don't think because the case is not crowded, that things are being done, things are being done. And all minds are one. And when you tune in or not, we're elevated. We're elevated so high that they really want to stop us at this day and time. So, brothers come up here and talk about history. Process, about the process about today, what's coming down with us, because of the New World Order being crushed from the truth being manifest. The game is over. The game is religion. Paul said we're not religious. This mind control stuff is over. The mind is trying to rule us through fear. World Trade Center, somebody bombed something, somebody in the subway. Now, they're taking away your rights. They're taking away your rights. Patriot Act. You know, Homeland Security Act, and all these other, they got secret stuff in it you don't even hear about in the past executive order to take away your freedom. But they do it in a scientific way. They do something, they want you to do something. What they do, they got a solution already what they want. So they bring about an action, because for every action is a reaction. Your reaction they want is the solution that they want. So they bomb their own building, or something that you mentioned, Oklahoma. And now you want more security. You want people as terrorists. You cannot confuse yourself to being with Muslims. A lot of brothers have been hurt in the name of Allah. They mean the Jews. So all that game, they down together anyway. So now let's talk about Arabia. Let's talk about Saudi Arabia. They down with them. They got Islamic masonry, Jewish masonry. They're all one. The religion, they're all one. Not be confused. The game is still paid for pay. Harder than that. Now we're fighting. It's like bringing back the Crusades. You know? This time, we didn't see the birds until we resurrected. We resurrected ourselves and others who live in the power. Looking at the chapter, long ago, more than that, science right with that. I don't want to talk about my new program. This will go on. I have one question. Oh, yeah, we'll be like this. I don't know all. Five about everything.
These families, you can't judge it. I'm here to tell y'all on October the 15th, me and Coach Cigar went out to the Mini-Man Mall. We went to Washington, D.C. It was raining and pouring when we got to New York. But when we got to Washington, D.C., it was 80 degrees. The sun was shining positive. Everybody was so happy to see the New York Dog or the FOI and the 85%. I went out there selling the 5% paper. I had one paper say, who is that? Mr. B. Gone. The other paper had the hurricane on. You all meaning, I was telling young people, after, read all about it. Read all about me. You want to know about me? Here's the paper. And yeah, you got me victory God, but I ain't no victory man no more out here. They were happy to see me. I had everybody happy. And the most important thing, the FOI, they
He ain't got time for that.
Oh, you did
He ain't got time for
No,
that.
what was the topic? The main
Oh,
topic?
man, ask them.
No, this is what I want to hear from you.
Well, talk to one side, y'all. Talk to one side.
We got a short program. Please, all your questions, y'all can talk about it outside.
Another thing I saw, the atmosphere was nice, filled with baby and people had really good stuff. I said, yeah, y'all get time. Come on to New York and see us. Come to the rally or call on the phone. I'll be glad to take your back there. But I had a magnificent time, I know we showing through. We were here, we were pursuing living. But what was made so funny, God, one of the dogs before I go out there, he was in his raincoat. I said, you don't need no raincoat. When we get out there and watch the scene, it's gonna be sunshine. I said, God is coming. And we're glad that we met all the way from the school to come out there. We don't know. Ain't no stopping us now. Because we got to move. Peace.
All right, everybody. Remember, like I said, it's going to be a short program, right? And Born Justice has something to build on. So I want to say this. Look at the program. If you ain't on that program, don't come inching up here. Let's keep some order and some respect to that. Let's remember how we got here. Because if it had not been for some guys that were going to build with y'all today, y'all wouldn't be sitting in this auditorium. And that's where it's from. It took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get it here. So what we're trying to do is to spark you to put it back the way it was. Put it back the way it was.
Peace. My name is Born Justice Allah. I know this month is what we consider Fight to See the Truth, and this is the month that this nation came into existence in a mathematical form, being real, on October the 10th, which is now that cycle. My born day is on October the 7th. I just turned power wisdom years old. In this nation, I've had knowledge for 37 years. And most of my knowledge that I've learned, it was when I was incarcerated. My history wasn't like some of these other brothers' history that's out here in the street. I had to come home in '86 to learn the history correctly from the God and earth that lived it from day one, or the year one, which is 1964. So most of my knowledge that I learned was traveling throughout the juvenile justice system. I got knowledge myself when I was 15 years old and spotted youth out. Selling drugs, robbing people, acting like a savage, living other than myself, acting wild as juveniles act wild. And I got in contact with some young brothers who was in Sparta with me. One of the brothers' name was El Yatu, the other brother's name was El Jah. As I moved and motivated myself and I went upstate, I met some brothers in Otisville. One of the brothers is here now, Ron Quan. I don't know if he's in here right now, but I saw him here. And that was a great influence in my life. And it's good to see him today, after all these years, to see him still building and still adding on. I know a lot of those brothers that helped get me this knowledge are not here today. Upon me coming home, at different times in my life, even though I had knowledge of myself, I wasn't living out the knowledge properly. Because I had lack of what? Understanding. And I continued to do some of the things that 85% do and that savages do. We continue to be in the drug game and selling drugs and things of that nature. It took time for my knowledge to marinate, for me to realize what I really had, what gift I really possessed. And in my last bid that I did, which I got arrested back in 1980, did 5.5 years in the federal penitentiary. Met some more serious brothers. Came out in 1986. From that time to present, all I've done is gave all within my power to this great and mighty nation that I love, and I appreciate, and I honor, and I give all praises due to Almighty God, Allah, the Father, and to His first 9 born. Because without those two entity, none of us would be in this room today. Upon further studying, I was blessed to be able to meet a God by the name of Firstborn Prince of Law. To me, I never met the Father, I never met him face to face, I never met his son. And because I met his son, I've been blessed with a clear, crystal understanding on how this should be lived out. And matter of fact, speaking about Frank, it just so happened that this 4 years, if I'm correct, that he got returned to his essence. In case y'all forgot what he looked like, this is Firstborn Prince of Law.
On just. You see that?
This is Firstborn Prince of Law.
Hey, Scott.
He's the third of the first 9 born in the tree. Now, the other thing I want to speak about is lesson. When you get your lesson, take hold to what you have dearly. As the Christians have a Bible, as the Muslims have a Quran, and the Jews have the Torah, and what they deal with, we have 120 lessons. And within that 120 lessons is the blueprint. The blueprint on how we should be living our culture, which we say is our God. We got these beautiful sisters that come in our midst, and we elevate them, we teach them, we enlighten them, and they become a part of us to make our universe complete. If you don't properly understand your lesson, you're going to have a problem communicating. And this is one of the things that I learned over the years. Because one time in my life, I never was a good speaker. I used to stutter. Learning 120 has allowed me to be able to be a more effective speaker. Because you have to learn how to take your time, collect your thoughts before you open your mouth. A lot of times we often speak about things that we don't have proper knowledge of or lack understanding of the knowledge that we possess. These lessons are great. The supreme mathematics are our keys, and I always say the supreme alphabet are the doors to the universe. And once you get the keys to open up the door, the blueprint is open to you. The universe is yours. The thing about us having knowledge itself is to show our greatness. Not to belittle one another, to disrespect one another, to pull the brother and sister when they got a little disharmony in their universe, or to talk about another brother or backstab another brother. We're supposed to be a family, and we are a family. You know, there's nothing but love here for the gods and earth that are righteous and true and living. But there's always those amongst us that's dissatisfied, and because they're dissatisfied, that's when the grafting process begins. Understand the cycle? You have to see the cycle that you live in, and the cycle is life. Tell them how the devil is made. The devil is made from the original people by drowning and separating germs. In the black man's body, there's just 2 germs, a black germ and a brown germ. God told him for birth control to separate the brown from the black and grafted it into white by destroying the black germ. After following the process for 600 years, the germ became weak and white, was no longer original. Also, by thinning the original blood, the germ became weak and wicked and was no longer the same. Thus, this is the way that Yahuwah made the devil. Right. Now that the devil is made, and you know what we're dealing with, it's our duty as civilized people to reverse that process. To take that brown seed or that yellow seed, put it back to the brown seed, take that brown seed, go back to the black seed to make everything what? Whole again. It's not going to happen in physical manifestation, but you walk with the brown seed, you walk with the black seed, and you'll become what? One. That's the knowledge of God. That's future civilization for all human families of the planet Earth. When you're in the midst of people, communicating with people, you communicate them to attract them to you, to enlighten them with the knowledge you have. Not to have them repelled and teach it to manifest. Because they are looking at you, and if you're not teaching it properly, they are going to come amongst you and say, listen, I know a brother that's named Amar Allah or Shakra Allah, he told me this and that and the third. And what you're saying is not right with that. Don't take it personally. Embrace it. Check yourself. Because a lot of y'all brothers got lessons that have pins stuck into them, and you're so hard-headed that you don't want to change it. When something is in your face, and you know it's absolutely wrong, and somebody brings it to your attention that it's an error, and it shows you that it's an error, all you have to do is scratch it out, take the correction above. Your understanding will allow you to see if it's right or if it's wrong. It's a blessing that if everybody has their lesson, that they are studying their lesson. It's a wonderful thing. But in your study, you want to make sure that you have them right and exact. Because we are charged with teaching the people that have no knowledge of themselves, how to save themselves, making knowledge born. That's how we understand the cycle. So if your knowledge is not correct in your delivery, if you teach 15 people and your lessons are not right and exact, that means you done taught 15 people in error. Now, if you're teaching a black woman that has no knowledge of herself, you're teaching our future. You're teaching the mother of civilization where our babies come from, and what you teach them is not right and exact. You done destroyed our whole future. And you gotta be held responsible for that. So each one gotta teach one, but first we gotta be able to reach them. We need to support our school. We got a large school in Medina. I know they're building out there with Universal Black Family, a wonderful thing. I know they have parliaments and everything out there. They have parliaments in Piedmont. They have parliaments here. They have classes in Medina. We need to get the schedule, go to school and get the schedule of what they're doing. They have classes around the corner at our national headquarters. This is where you can come and get correct knowledge and wisdom. Because without correct knowledge and wisdom, you're not going to have a correct understanding. Like I said before, it's good to see the family here. It's always good. I see two brothers I haven't seen in a while. It's good to see these two brothers. My brother Lamel, love this brother immensely. And my brother Sealar, love him also. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long time. And it's good to see our family come together, to be able to build and exchange information and ideas. We got guests from London in here that's doing a piece on us. We did a couple of radio shows out there in London, and they got bombarded with knowledge and wisdom, and people start calling, want to know more about us. So as you travel with this knowledge and wisdom, please be accurate in your delivery. Please be strong in your presentation. If you need help in your lesson, feel free to contact me or anybody at the law school in Memphis. If you want to get your lessons checked, just to see where you're at and see what kind of errors might be there, or just to build. That's what we're here for. I'm approachable. God that I build with in this nation, they approachable. They're not going to tell you, oh no, you can't build with me, I don't want to talk about no lesson. But that's not our way. You understand what I'm saying? About how much knowledge we have, that doesn't make us better than the next person. Because one thing that firstborn Prince of Allah told me is the Father said that the Father taught us to be equal. Taught us to be God. Not for nobody be bigger and better than nobody else. We come together, we are Allah. It says the original people, who is Allah. An individual cycle, when we go amongst the world, we are the Father, and we teach knowledge and wisdom that the original black man is God, and the white man is the devil, and that the black woman is our best part, and she's our everything. Today is understand the cycle. Do you understand your cycle? Finish. Hey. Step up here just for a quick minute. Because you just said part of what you just said is very important for all of us to recognize. Is that when dealing in the public arena, and now, I say this to Father John the other day, he said, you don't hear that too often. There's some things called, there's some things we used to talk about called the distinguished characteristics of the wise. One of the distinguished characteristics of the wise is that a wise man listens while a wise man speaks. Another distinguished characteristic of the wise is that a wise man knows when he stands to be what? Correct. There's no shame in being correct. So it's important when you're in the public arena, and if you're asked a question that you don't know, you can know that you can take them or you can point them to someone that will know that answer. Don't try to answer questions that you don't know nothing about, because you end up not only embarrassing you, but basically embarrassing yourself. Because within the 120, all questions and all answers are fulfilled. So if you know you're 120, you basically be able to answer most anything that might be given to you. But then again, there are other things that's outside of that, so if you don't know, you ask. Now, a part of public relations is being able to go out into the community at large and dialogue, make wisdom born among people outside of the nation of God and earth. I myself would be able to extend my dialogue into the hierarchy of the police department. Raymond Kelly, people like Raymond Kelly. You know, people like the chief of the department. You know, a gentleman named Esposito, chief of the. But those are just things in the mayor's place. You know, the mayor himself. You know, dialogue, exchange some thoughts and ideas. People within his administration, within the community, councilmatic members, assembly people, senators, congress people. You know what I'm saying? So, in that confine, you meet people and you get to talk to people in all arenas of life. There's a brother here among us today that I'm going to have the pleasure of introducing. Earlier I spoke to you about the need for us to become more politically astute in our ability not only to elect and put forth representation out of our body, the nation of God and earth, to run for such things as district leaders, councilmatic members, assembly, Congress, and senatorial seats. We can do these things with a little motivation and a little insight. We can do these things. And these things are going to what? Happen. Today we have a brother, and I also spoke earlier about how many brothers and sisters came from our cycle, who have left our cycle and have gone into other dimensions and are manifesting the light within those dimensions. Our Father always told us there was no wrong with that. Those of us who are going to stay home, we're going to stay home. You're going to have someone who go elsewhere and do what they have to do. But I have the privilege of knowing a brother who's been among us. The brother's been in many cycles. And very intelligent brother. Very highly respected brother among myself and the brothers that I come with. The brother's from out of Virginia, you know, and right now the brother is running for one of the councilmatic seats in Medina. I believe it's District 42. District 41, I stand to be corrected. District Culture Knowledge. The brother's name, I'll let him speak for himself. The brother's name is Naquan Muhammad. And I just want to give him a minute, you know, to exchange some thoughts and ideas about some of the things I already said, that we are going to push the agenda to get our own elected into some of these seats. And because Naquan is a brother that has shown us love over the years and has always been there for us in certain agendas and in certain formulas, we want to try to be there for him. We in Medina, like I said, as a non-profit group, we can't support nobody, but as individuals from the nation of God and earth, we can give all the support we want. So we from Medina, those of us who know Naquan and who respect Naquan, are going to do all we can to see that Naquan can get elected into the seat. Because you know, with Naquan there, we have a closer foot in the door than if it was one of our own. So with that, I'd like to present our brother Naquan Muhammad.
First, beginning all things before the holy name of Allah, the mercy. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you, my beloved brothers and sisters, in the green words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. To the true and living God, I'm going to say peace. You know, my mentor and all the peace, and all the brothers who know it. Expounded on the fact that I'm one of the young brothers who came from the womb of the nation of God. The Prophet Muhammad, even after love, is once recorded as saying, you must reverence the womb that bore you. So if I come from the loins of the Father and justice, then I have to give reverence to the womb that bore me. So though I'm running for the 41st Councilmatic District in Brooklyn, which comprises of Northern Bed-Stuy, Ocean Hill, Brownsville,